Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a new series on my channel, The Solicits Breakdown. I will be doing this on a monthly basis for both the DC Comics Solicits and the Marvel Solicits. So let's get started and talk about May's DC Comics Solicits. There's actually a lot here, a lot of new issue ones, a couple of new miniseries, new directions with Infinite Frontier. So starting off with the first series, the series I'm definitely most looking forward to out of the new titles, and that is Wondergirl issue 1. So this is a series we knew was coming, we just didn't know what month it was coming out, so now we know as part of the May Solicits, it will be a May book, and we're following the new adventures of Yara, I guess figuring out how she got to that point in Future State, which I'm very excited for. Joelle Jones is doing, again, both the artwork and writing, which I think is great. It really has such a great flow to the book. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm a little interested, I guess, that you do have a little bit of that break, though. So we just finished Future State. We're going to finish Future State in February, and then we're getting about a 2-month break between getting that new series and the Future State title. So I'm curious if that's going to affect sales at all or momentum of the character. Moving on to Future State Gotham. So we actually do have a couple of Future State titles coming out or connections to Future State, and this is one of them, and this is one I was actually looking forward to. So this is going to be, I believe, a 6-issue arc to start out with Jason Todd, and that was definitely one of the backup stories I was most interested in. It was very interesting to see Jason Todd stray away from the Bat family and become the enemy, and it makes sense for his type of character who does kind of ride on the line of being a hero or a villain. So to see that, I thought that was pretty cool. Same creative team. And what I'm really interested with this series, A, is, how long will it go for? And then B, what characters will they focus on? Gotham was one of the Future State books that actually was connected. And there were some really good characters there, including, Stephanie Brown, Cassandra Cain. Are we going to see those characters? Tim Drake, some fan favorites. So that one I'm definitely looking forward to. Another Future State title I was actually kind of surprised to see, and this is, I believe, a miniseries, and that is Mr. Miracle. I wasn't a huge fan of the Superman titles. I pretty much dropped all of them with the Future State titles, and this one was a backup story. It was Mr. Miracle, is revolving around Metropolis, and there's a couple of things that come to mind. First of all, was this one of the more popular series, or was this planned before Future State came out? And then second of all, as a fan of Tom King's Mr. Miracle, I think that was some of his best work. Will those fans convert here? What will be the tale of the miniseries in general? Because it is a different character. It's not the same Mr. Miracle. So we'll see how that one ends up going. Now, another really big one-shot from the Solicits is the Asian Superhero Celebration. I am so excited for this one. A, because it seems like this particularly could be a spec book because we are getting a new character, I believe, and that's Catwoman's sidekick, and that is Catgirl. So that's really exciting. And then, of course, just having Asian representation. There's so many great Asian DC heroes, and I am really excited to see a spotlight for them, especially Cassandra Cain. I'm such a big Cassandra fan. So I'm excited to see what new stories will be developed here, and I do hope that it does have new stories and makes it even more worthwhile to get this book and connected to not just a one-shot, but hopefully future series and more Asian representation. And again, the Catgirl appearance, I think, is going to be a very big deal, and I'm curious to see how that's going to all be connected to Catwoman. Moving on to another one-shot, we do have a couple of one-shots for this month, and that is Stargirl Spring Break. This is written by Jeff Johns, the creator of Stargirl, and Todd Nook, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, is doing the art. And we've definitely seen a lot of Todd's work. He does a good job at the teen-centric stories. I believe he just did the Gwen Stacy miniseries. So I thought that was a really good fit for Stargirl, and I am such a big Stargirl fan, so especially the comic version of Stargirl, and I'm excited to see more of her in comics. We really haven't seen much of her. The last time we saw her, I think, was like the Justice League series she was in, the Justice League of America series. I don't remember another time that we saw her. So it's been a while, and to have a whole one-shot about her, will this give us more Stargirl, or is it just because of the TV show? They're like, okay, we'll put out a one-shot. Will Jeff Johns continue to tell Stargirl stories? I'm curious to see what this will mean for the future. So moving on to another mini-series. I think this is like an out-of-continuity mini-series, and that is Justice League Last Road. What I was interested in was, the breaking up of the Justice League, a kind of a darker story, but also Chip Zdarsky's writing, a writer that does a little bit more for Marvel. We're seeing a lot more of him in DC. I believe he has a Batman story coming out, and now he has this story. And I really love Chip Zdarsky's writing in general, but I really enjoyed his Spider-Man, the life story miniseries that he did, I think 2 years ago. And it was putting Spider-Man's mythos and history on its head. So to see maybe a similar lens for the Justice League, I think could tell a really cool self-contained story. So I'm very excited to see his voice on this tone of Justice League in particular. So moving on to the series that are kind of already been announced and further into the stories, and one is Batman issue 108. I did a video on Molly Miracle, Miracle Molly, so if you want to see more of my thoughts on the character that's going to be featured in Batman 108, definitely go check that out. And we have more Batman, which is great. I've missed my Batman. And then speaking of Batman, we have Detective Comics issue 1036. And what caught my interest here, I'm just stoked to see Mariko Tamaki and Dan Mora on this book. I thought Dark Detective was one of the stronger series of Future State. But also Huntress is appearing. We don't get to see enough of Huntress, and we especially don't get to see enough of Huntress outside of Birds of Prey and interacting with Batman. So I want to see what that dynamic is. It definitely seems like they're delving into a murder mystery and more of the detective side of Detective Comics. So that's definitely greatly appreciated as well. Moving on to Justice League issue 61. The reason I referenced this one, first of all, we are going to get the new run from Brian Michael Bendis and Dave Marquez. I love Dave Marquez's artwork, so I'm super excited for that. But I also am a huge Naomi fan, and I've been disappointed that we haven't gotten that second volume. But if you read the solicits, it seems like they will be digging deeper into Naomi's past and Naomi's connection to her heritage. So that I'm really excited for. Now, I'm a little worried that means we won't get a volume 2 of Naomi, and they're just exploring it in Justice League. But I'm excited to see more Naomi and learn more about her. So that definitely intrigued me. So moving on to Robin issue 2, the thing that really grabbed my attention here, Ravanger. I love Rose. I love this character, and I think her teaming up with Robin, with Damian, is so interesting because they both do teeter on, they want to be good, but they definitely have a darker side because of their parents. I think they could definitely really relate to each other, and I hope she ends up becoming a bigger character in the series. So very excited for Ravager to be part of this book. Now, moving on to the last series on my list, and that is Suicide Squad and Teen Titans Academy, which is the title of this video. So thank you for sticking around. And this one, they already have a crossover, which is kind of crazy. I feel like we're just getting into the nitty-gritty with these series. They're just starting. And to have a crossover, I feel like it might be too soon. So I'm a little worried on that aspect. And then also we have a new Flash, Bolt, that's introduced that seems like is the connective tissue between Academy and Suicide Squad. Amanda Waller is looking for them. And I didn't know how to feel about this because I think especially in recent years, we've had a lot of Flashes introduced. And I love Jess from Future State. So we just had that Flash introduced, and we're not going to be seeing them as until closer to a couple months later. So we're not really seeing anything now. So we just had that character. So to introduce another Flash and then all these other Flashes we've had in the past 5 years, I don't know how to feel. I am interested to see Superboy in general meet up with the Teen Titans and how that's going to work out. So it definitely is an intriguing concept. I just think maybe it's a little bit too early, but I like the idea that they are exploring these new characters rather quickly. Like Bolts, maybe we'll be very interested in them now that they have a major spotlight on their character tying into 2 series now. So those are all my thoughts on the solicits for this month. Let me know if you like this series. Let me know your thoughts on the upcoming DC Comics books. And definitely follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Go check out my comics like Father Like Daughter and They Call Her a Dancer. And every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time is Comic Book Weekly, where we discuss our favorite comics and comic book news. Thanks, guys. Bye.